In the vast expanse of the Galactic Union, where 372 species coexist under the banner of peace and scientific progress, there exists a singular rule that every medical professional learns on their first day of xenobiology training. Never assume you understand a species until you have studied it for at least a standard decade. Dr. Zella thought she knew everything there was to know about carbon-based life forms. She had studied them for 40 cycles, treated over 60 different species, and published 17 papers on the subject. She had seen beings that breathed methane, creatures that regenerated limbs, and organisms that existed in hive mind collectives. Nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared her for the humans. When the distress beacon was detected in Sector 7, Gamma, a restricted zone marked as Primitive World Protection Area, the crew of the research vessel Luminous Dawn assumed they would find the usual fare: a lost probe, perhaps a smuggler's cache, maybe even an ancient artifact. What they found instead was a small, damaged ship of unknown origin with a single life form aboard, barely clinging to survival. That life form was Marcus Chen, an exploration pilot from a planet the Galactic Union had never heard of, a planet called Earth. What followed would shake the foundations of xenobiology, challenge every assumption about what was possible in organic life, and leave every scientist who encountered humanity asking the same horrified question: what is wrong with human biology? This is that story. The medical bay of the Luminous Dawn was a pristine environment, all smooth surfaces and soft blue lighting designed to be calming to the widest possible range of species. Dr. Zela stood before the containment field, her three eyes fixed on the unconscious creature lying on the examination platform. The creature was bipedal, roughly 2 meters tall, with a skeletal structure that seemed almost fragile compared to most spacefaring species. Its skin was a brownish tone, smooth except for a covering of fine filaments on its head. Two forward-facing eyes, a protruding nasal structure, and a wide mouth gave it the appearance of a predator, though a relatively small one. "Readings are still fluctuating," said Nurse Kelvin, a Throsian whose 4 arms danced across the holographic displays. "The internal temperature keeps changing. It goes from 36.5 to 37.2 degrees, then back down. I have never seen such instability in a living being." Zella's head tendrils twitched with concern. Temperature regulation was fundamental to life. Species either maintained a constant internal temperature or changed with their environment. This constant fluctuation suggested severe system failure. "What about the cardiac rhythm?" she asked. Kelvin's eye stalks drooped with confusion. "That is the other problem, Doctor. The rhythm keeps changing too. Sometimes 60 beats per cycle, sometimes 100. The pressure also varies wildly. If this were any species I know, I would say the creature is dying, but all other indicators suggest it is merely unconscious." Zella approached the containment field, studying the creature more closely. They had found it in the wreckage of a primitive spacecraft, the kind that suggested a species that had just begun to explore beyond their own planet. The ship had been damaged by what looked like a meteorite strike. By all rights, the creature should have been dead. The hull breach had exposed it to vacuum for at least 3 standard minutes before their rescue team had managed to get it into an emergency bubble. 3 minutes of vacuum exposure. Most species would have exploded from the pressure differential. Their blood would have boiled. Their organs would have ruptured. Yet this creature had survived with nothing more than some tissue damage and unconsciousness. "Begin the awakening protocol," Zella ordered. "We need to communicate with it to understand its biology better. Use the standard neural stimulant, 0.5 concentration." Kelvin administered the drug through the containment field's medical interface. The creature's eyes moved rapidly beneath their lids, a sign the stimulant was working. Then, suddenly, those eyes opened. Zella gasped. The eyes were not the simple photoreceptors she had expected. They were complex organs with white sclera surrounding colored irises of deep brown and dark pupils that contracted immediately in the medical bay's light. The creature could clearly see in multiple light conditions. The creature sat up abruptly, and Zala noticed something that made her skin crawl with scientific fascination. The creature's pupils had dilated massively, and its breathing had accelerated to nearly 3 times its resting rate. The temperature readings spiked upward. "Where am I?" the creature spoke, and the translation matrix caught the words. "What happened to my ship?" "Please remain calm," Zella said, using her most soothing tone. "You are aboard the research vessel Luminous Dawn. We found you in a damaged spacecraft. You are safe." The creature's head swiveled rapidly, taking in its surroundings with those disturbing predator eyes. Safe? You have me in some kind of cage. Its voice was rough, filled with an emotion the translator labeled as suspicion and fear. It is not a cage. It is a medical containment field, Zellar explained. We do not yet understand your biology. The field protects both you and us until we know it is safe. The creature stood, and Zellar noted with alarm how it moved. Despite being recently unconscious, despite having been exposed to vacuum, despite all the trauma it should have suffered, it moved with fluid grace. More disturbing, every muscle in its body was tensed, ready for action. Its fingers curled into fists. I am Dr. Zellar, Chief Medical Officer of this vessel. What do you call yourself, Marcus? The creature said. Marcus Chen. I am from Earth. How long was I unconscious? Approximately 4 standard hours, Kelvin provided. You should not be awake yet. The damage to your system should require at least 20 hours of healing before consciousness returns. Marcus touched his head, and Zellar saw something that made her pause. Where there had been a gash from the accident exposing the creature's inner tissues, there was now a dark red crust covering the wound. In 4 hours, it had begun sealing itself. I have a question, Marcus Chen from Earth, Zellar said carefully. Your biology is unusual to us. Your temperature keeps changing. Your heart rhythm is inconsistent, and you have survived trauma that would kill most species. Can you explain this? Marcus looked confused. My temperature? You mean my body temperature? That is normal. It is supposed to fluctuate slightly, and my heart rate changes based on what I am doing, resting, or if I am stressed. He looked around the containment field. Right now I am pretty stressed, so yeah, my heart is beating faster. Zellar exchanged a look with Kelvin. This made no sense. Your cardiac organ changes its rhythm based on emotional state? Of course it does, Marcus said, as if this were the most obvious thing in the universe. Does not yours? Most species maintain a steady cardiac rhythm throughout their lives. It only changes during extreme physical exertion or system failure. You are saying your heart changes speed constantly? Well, yes, Marcus said. He was looking at them now with curiosity rather than suspicion. What species are you? I have never seen anything like you before. Those tendrils on your head, are those sensory organs? Zellar felt herself entering the strange position of being the one questioned about biology. I am Valachian. The tendrils sense chemical compositions in the air. But we are discussing your biology, Marcus Chen. Tell me, what is your planet like? What environment produced such an unusual organism? Marcus smiled, showing flat white teeth with slightly pointed canines. Another predator trait. Earth is pretty standard, I think. Nitrogen, oxygen, atmosphere. Gravity is about 1 g. Temperature ranges from -40 to +50 Celsius depending on location and season. We have water covering about 70% of the surface. Kelvin's eye stalks went rigid with shock. -40 to +50? That is a temperature variance of 90 degrees. No species can survive such extremes. Sure they can, Marcus said. Humans live all over Earth, from the Arctic to the deserts to the tropics. We just wear different clothing. Zellar felt a headache forming, a rare occurrence for her species. Let me understand this correctly. Your species exists across a 90-degree temperature range. Your cardiac rhythm changes constantly, and your body temperature fluctuates. What else should we know? Marcus scratched his head, and Zellar noticed the wound they were still sealing. I mean, I do not know what is unusual to you. We are just normal to us. We eat a wide variety of things. We sleep about 8 hours a day. We can run for long distances. We sweat to cool down. We shiver to warm up. Pretty basic stuff. You can run for long distances? Kelvin asked. How long? I am not a marathon runner or anything, but a trained human can run for hours. Some people do ultramarathons running for 24 hours or more. Zellar checked the translation matrix 3 times to make sure she had heard correctly. 24 hours of continuous running? Yeah, it is a thing people do for sport, Marcus confirmed. Why is that weird? Weird did not begin to cover it. Most predator species could sprint for short bursts, using speed to catch prey. But sustained pursuit for hours? That was unheard of. Even the most endurance-focused species could only maintain high activity for 1 or 2 hours before exhaustion. Marcus Chen, Zelar said slowly, I need to run some tests on you. Is that acceptable? I guess, Marcus said, but I would like to contact my people. They need to know I am alive. My ship was part of an exploration mission. There are others out there. We will help you contact them, Zelar promised. But first, we must understand you. If there are more humans, we need to know how to interact safely with your species. Some of your biological traits are extremely concerning. Concerning how? Marcus asked, his tone defensive. Zelar chose her words carefully. You survived vacuum exposure. Your wounds heal rapidly. Your body systems are in constant flux. These are traits we associate with extremely dangerous organisms. We need to know if you are a threat. Marcus laughed, a barking sound that made both Zelar and Kelvin step back instinctively. You think I am dangerous? Look at me. I am alone, injured, on an alien ship. You are the ones with all the power here. Physical power, perhaps, Zelar acknowledged. But biological threats come in many forms. Tell me, what do humans eat? Lots of things, Marcus said. Meat, vegetables, fruits, grains. We are omnivores. We can digest a wide range of organic matter. Kelvin pulled up a database. Define wide range. How many different food sources can you process? Marcus thought for a moment. Thousands? Tens of thousands? We eat animals, plants, fungi. We even eat some bacteria and algae in the form of fermented foods. Some humans can digest milk into adulthood, which I guess is unusual for mammals. Zeller felt her world tilting. Most species could process 10 to 20 different food sources. Specialized eaters might manage 50. Thousands was impossible. That kind of digestive flexibility required a chemical processing system far beyond anything she had studied. Your digestive tract must be incredibly complex, she said. Not really, Marcus replied. It is just a tube with some acid and enzymes. Pretty simple design, actually. Simple. The creature called one of the most versatile biological systems she had ever heard of simple. Zeller needed to sit down, but she remained standing through sheer professional discipline. One more question, she said. What do you know about your immune system? My immune system? Marcus looked puzzled. It fights off diseases and infections, white blood cells, antibodies, that kind of thing. Why? Because you were exposed to an alien environment for 4 hours, Zeller explained. Our ship's atmosphere, our bacteria, our chemical composition. Your body has been flooded with foreign organisms and compounds. Most species would be showing severe allergic reactions by now, possibly even going into shock. But your readings show only mild inflammation. How is this possible? Marcus shrugged again, seemingly unconcerned. I guess my immune system is handling it. I mean, that is its job. That was its job. As if adapting to a completely alien biochemical environment in 4 hours was routine. Zeller made a decision. Kelvin, I want a full biological workup. Genetic scan, cellular analysis, everything. I need to understand this organism. Should I lower the containment field? Kelvin asked. Zeller looked at Marcus Chen, this impossible creature from an impossible world, and felt uncertainty for the first time in her long career. Every instinct told her that this being was dangerous. Not through malice, but through sheer biological incompatibility with everything she knew. Not yet, she said. Not until we know what we are dealing with. Marcus sighed and sat back down on the platform. I am not going to hurt anyone. I just want to go home. I believe you, Zeller said, and surprisingly, she did. But Marcus Chen from Earth, I think you do not understand just how unusual you are. Your biology defies every rule we know, and that makes you the most fascinating and terrifying thing I have ever studied. As Kelvin began the scans, Zeller watched the data pour in, each reading more impossible than the last. This was going to change everything she knew about life in the universe. She just had no idea how much. The genetic scan took 6 hours to complete, and with each passing minute, Dr. Zeller felt her understanding of biology crumble like ancient stone. She stood in her private lab, surrounded by holographic displays showing Marcus Chen's cellular structure, and tried to make sense of the impossible data before her. Captain Vorin entered the lab, his scales gleaming blue under the lights. The Saurian commander was known for his calm demeanor, but even he looked disturbed as he studied the readouts. Explain this to me slowly, Doctor, he said, his tail twitching with agitation. The crew is talking about the creature in medical. Half of them think it is a bioweapon. The other half think we should jettison it into space before it infects us with something. Zella gestured to the primary display, where Marcus's DNA structure rotated slowly. First, it is not a weapon, it is a naturally evolved organism. But Captain, this species should not exist. Look at this. She highlighted a section of the genetic code. Human DNA contains genetic material from viruses, lots of it. Nearly 8% of their entire genome is viral in origin, remnants of ancient infections that became permanent parts of their genetic structure. Voron's eyes widened. 8%? That would kill any normal organism. It should, Zellar agreed. But for humans, these viral insertions have been repurposed. Some regulate their immune response. Others control gene expression. They literally integrated their ancient enemies into their own biology and made them useful. Spirits of the void, Voron breathed. What else? Zellar pulled up another display. Their blood. Captain, their blood contains iron-based hemoglobin that binds oxygen. But the truly fascinating part is what happens when they are injured. She showed him a microscopic video of human blood clotting. When a human is wounded, their blood does this. See how it forms fibers? Those are proteins that create a net, trapping blood cells and forming a solid plug within seconds. Then, these cells here, platelets, they release chemicals that attract more platelets and start the healing process. Within hours, new tissue begins forming. Voron watched the video with morbid fascination. How quickly can they heal? Minor cuts seal in days. Broken bones can repair in weeks. They can even regenerate damaged liver tissue. Up to 75% of the organ can be removed and it will grow back. This is insane, Voron muttered. What planet produces such a creature? A death world, Captain, Exelar said quietly. I have been researching the coordinates where we found him. That region of space has been marked as primitive world protection, but I accessed the initial survey data. Marcus's planet, Earth, is a Class 7 hazard world. Voron's scales darkened, a sign of deep concern. Class 7 meant extreme danger. The Galactic Union classified anything above Class 4 as unsuitable for colonization. The planet's ecosystem is built on violence, Zellar continued. Predators hunting prey. Prey evolving defenses. Parasites, diseases, natural disasters, extreme weather. Humans evolved in the middle of this chaos. They were not the strongest or the fastest or the most venomous. So they became adaptable. They became endurance hunters. They became able to eat almost anything, survive almost anywhere, and heal from almost any injury. They evolved to be unkillable, Voron said. Not unkillable, but incredibly resilient, Zellar corrected. But there is more. Their immune system is extremely aggressive. When foreign organisms enter their body, humans do not just fight them off. They create a memory of the invader. If they encounter it again, even years later, their body responds immediately and destroys it. Voron sat down heavily. You mean they adapt to diseases? Yes. They can even be exposed to weakened versions of diseases deliberately, and their body will learn to fight the real thing. They call it vaccination. It is brilliant and terrifying. The captain rubbed his snout. I need to report this to the Galactic Council. A species like this, if they become spacefaring, they could colonize worlds we consider uninhabitable. They could survive plagues that wipe out stations. They could be unstoppable. Or they could be valuable allies, Zellar countered. Think about it, Captain. Medical advances, survival techniques, genetic therapies. Humans could teach us so much. Before Voron could respond, an alarm blared through the ship. The captain's communicator crackled to life. Captain, this is engineering, came the panicked voice of Chief Thorne. We have a breach in the deuterium containment system. Radiation is leaking into Section 7. We need to evacuate immediately. Voron was already moving. Seal the section and evacuate all personnel. How bad is the leak? Add, sir. The radiation levels are already at 200 milliamps and climbing. Anyone in there has maybe 5 minutes before lethal exposure. Zellar felt her blood run cold. Captain, Section 7 is adjacent to medical. If the radiation spreads, it could reach the containment field. Get your patient moved to a safe location, Voron ordered as he ran toward the bridge. Zellar rushed to medical, where Kelvin was already working frantically to prepare a mobile containment unit. Marcus stood inside the field, clearly aware something was wrong. "What is happening?" he asked. "Radiation leak," Zeller explained tersely. "We need to move you to another section of the ship." "How much radiation?" Marcus asked. 200 millirems and increasing, enough to cause severe cellular damage. Marcus's expression shifted to one of concern. "How long until you can move me?" Kelvin's eye stalks drooped. "The mobile unit is not responding. The power coupling is damaged. It will take at least 10 minutes to repair." "We do not have 10 minutes, Zelar said. She made a decision. Lower the containment field. "Doctor, the protocols," Kelvin began. "I know the protocols." "Lower it now." The field shimmered and disappeared. Marcus stepped forward. "Okay, what is the plan?" "We need to evacuate to Section 3, but the path takes us through Section 7, the irradiated zone," Zelar explained. "We will have to run." "Then let us run," Marcus said simply. They moved quickly through the corridors, Zelar's instruments detecting the radiation levels climbing steadily. As they approached Section 7, the readings spiked dramatically. 300 millirems, Zelar reported, her voice tight. "We need to move faster." Marcus suddenly grabbed both Zeller and Kelvin, his grip firm but careful. "Hold on to me. I will get us through." Before either could protest, Marcus started running. Not the quick trot Zeller had seen from other species, but a full sprint that accelerated smoothly and steadily. His body moved with mechanical efficiency, each step perfectly placed, his breathing falling into a rhythmic pattern despite the exertion. They crossed Section 7 in seconds that felt like hours. A radiation alarm screamed around them. Zeller's instruments went haywire, and Marcus just ran, carrying both of them as if they weighed nothing. When they finally reached Section 3 in safety, Marcus set them down gently. He was breathing heavily, but not gasping or collapsing like any other species would after such exertion. His skin glistened with moisture. "What is that?" Kelvin asked, pointing to the droplets forming on Marcus's skin. "Sweat," Marcus said, still catching his breath. "My body's cooling system. We produce water on our skin. It evaporates and cools us down. You were exposed to over 400 millirems of radiation. Do you understand what that means?" Marcus wiped his forehead. "It is bad, right? Like cancer bad? It is lethal bad. You should be showing symptoms already. Nausea, cellular breakdown, organ damage." Zelar pulled out her medical scanner and ran it over Marcus. Her hands trembled as she read the results. "This is impossible," she whispered. "What?" Marcus asked, concerned now. "Your cells are repairing the radiation damage? Already. I can see the DNA repair mechanisms working in real time. You have these enzymes. They are literally cutting out damaged genetic sequences and replacing them with correct copies." Marcus looked relieved. "So I will be okay." "You should not be okay. You should be dying." "No species can repair radiation damage this quickly." Captain Voran's voice came over the intercom. "All personnel, the leak is contained. Casualty report, 2 crew members received minor exposure. Being treated in auxiliary medical." "Seller, what is the status of the human?" Exeler looked at Marcus, who stood there looking only slightly tired after sprinting through a lethal radiation zone while carrying 2 adult aliens, his body already healing the damage that would have killed anyone else. "The human is fine, Captain," she said, her voice hollow. "Perfectly fine." Over the next several hours, as the ship's systems were repaired, Zelar ran continuous scans on Marcus. The radiation damage decreased steadily until it was undetectable. His body had simply fixed itself. "I need you to explain something to me," Zelar said to Marcus as they sat in the medical bay. "How is your species not the dominant force in the galaxy? You can survive vacuum, radiation, extreme temperatures. You heal from injuries. You can run for hours. You can eat almost anything. What stops you?" "We only just developed faster-than-light travel. My ship was part of the first wave of explorers. We have been so busy fighting each other on our own planet that we never looked up much. War, politics, stupidity, the usual." "You fight each other?" Zelar asked. "Why?" "Because we are human," Marcus said with a shrug. "We are adaptable and tough, but we are also stubborn and aggressive. We compete. We argue. We make mistakes." He looked around the medical bay. "But we also dream. We explore."
We hope. That is why I am out here.
Because I wanted to see what was beyond Earth. I wanted to meet other people, other minds. Zella felt something shift in her understanding. This creature, this impossible biological miracle, was not just a collection of survival traits. It was a person with hopes and dreams and flaws. The Galactic Council will want to meet your people, she said. When we learn there are more humans out there, some species will be afraid, but others will be curious. Will you be afraid or curious? Marcus asked. Zella thought about everything she had learned, all the impossible things Marcus's body could do, all the ways human biology broke every rule she knew. She thought about the radiation he had shrugged off, the vacuum exposure he had survived, the constant adaptation his body performed without conscious thought. Both, she admitted, but more curious than afraid. Your species has so much to teach us. Marcus extended his hand, a human gesture she had seen in the cultural database. Then I look forward to my people meeting yours. Maybe we can learn from each other. Zella carefully reached out with one of her manipulated tendrils and touched his hand. His skin was warm, slightly damp from his cooling sweat, and very much alive. I think we will both be surprised by what we learn, she said. Neither of them knew then how right she was, or what challenges awaited when humanity stepped onto the galactic stage. But in that moment, in the medical bay of the luminous dawn, the first bridge between two species was built on curiosity, respect, and the simple act of reaching out to touch the unknown. 3 days after the radiation incident, the luminous dawn made contact with the human exploration fleet. Captain Voran stood on the bridge, watching the view screen as 3 human vessels approached. They were smaller than most Galactic Union ships, built with a utilitarian design that suggested function over elegance. They are hailing us, Communications Officer Prill announced, her antennae twitching nervously. Open a channel, Voran ordered. The view screen shifted to show a human woman in a dark blue uniform. She had short black hair, sharp eyes, and an expression that reminded Voran uncomfortably of a hunting predator analyzing potential prey. This is Captain Sarah Martinez of the USS Discovery, she said, her voice crisp and professional. We understand you have one of our people aboard. We would like him returned. Captain Martinez, I am Captain Voran of the research vessel Luminous Dawn. Your crew member, Marcus Chen, is safe and being well treated. We have much to discuss. Martinez's expression did not soften. I am sure we do. Permission to come aboard? Voran glanced at Dr. Zellar, who had been standing quietly to his side. She nodded slightly. Permission granted. However, I must inform you that your species' biology has certain unusual properties. We will need to take precautions. For the first time, Martinez's stern expression cracked into something that might have been amusement. I am aware humans are unusual, Captain. We will follow your protocols. 2 hours later, Captain Martinez sat in the conference room with 3 other humans. A tall man she introduced as Dr. James Okonkwo, their chief medical officer, a shorter woman named Lieutenant Chen, who turned out to be Marcus's sister, and a quiet man with silver hair named Ambassador Thomas Gray. Zellar presented her findings on human biology, watching their reactions carefully. As she described each discovery, the impossible healing, the radiation resistance, the endurance capabilities, the humans showed various responses ranging from Marcus's sister's protective anger to Ambassador Gray's calculating interest. When Zellar finished, Dr. Okonkwo spoke up. What you describe is accurate, though I would not characterize our biology as wrong. Different, yes. Unexpected, certainly. But wrong implies a deviation from a standard that frankly does not exist in nature. No offense was meant, Zellar said quickly. It is simply that your species defies every biological norm we have established across 372 known spacefaring races. Then perhaps your norms need expanding, Martinez said bluntly. Humans evolved on Earth, a planet that apparently qualifies as what you call a death world. Our biology is a response to our environment. I fail to see how that makes us a threat. It does not make you a threat intentionally, Captain Voran interjected. But consider the implications. Your people can survive in environments that would kill ours. You can resist radiation levels that are lethal to most species. Your immune systems are aggressive enough to fight off diseases we have no defense against. Some members of the Galactic Council will see this as a potential danger. Ambassador Gray leaned forward, his weathered face thoughtful. And others will see opportunity. We did not come to the stars to make enemies, Captain. We came to learn, to grow, and yes, to find friends and allies. But we will not apologize for what we are. Before anyone could respond, the ship's alarm system activated. Priel's voice came over the intercom, strained and frightened. Captain, we have a problem. A Kryloth raider ship just dropped out of hyperspace. They are demanding we surrender all valuable cargo and technology. Sir, Kryloth are known for taking prisoners for their slave markets. Vorin felt his blood run cold. The Kryloth were one of the few species the Galactic Union had explicitly banned from their space, a brutal culture that valued only strength and saw other species as resources to be exploited. Battle stations, Vorin ordered. Raise shields and prepare evasive maneuvers. Captain, with respect, the Luminous Dawn is a research vessel, his tactical officer reported. We have minimal weapons and our shields are designed for radiation protection, not combat. Martinez was already on her feet. How many Kryloth ships? One, but it is a heavy cruiser, Vorin said. They outgun us 3-1. Then we should even the odds, Martinez said. She tapped her communication device. Martinez to Discovery. Alert status red. Prepare for combat. Captain, your ships are even smaller than ours, Vorin protested. Martinez smiled, and it was not a kind expression. Size is not everything, Captain. Dr. Okonkwo, get Marcus and return to our ship. Lieutenant Chen, Ambassador Gray, with me. As the humans moved with military precision, Zola felt compelled to follow. She had studied human biology, but she had never seen humans in combat. Professional curiosity overrode her fear. On the bridge, the view screen showed the Kryloth vessel, a dark, angular ship bristling with weapons. The 3 human ships had moved into a protective formation around the Luminous Dawn. Kryloth vessel, this is Captain Martinez of the United Earth Expeditionary Fleet, Martinez transmitted. You are targeting a ship under our protection. Withdraw immediately or face consequences. The response was a guttural laugh. The Kryloth captain appeared on screen. A massive creature with thick armor plating and multiple eyes. Humans, we have heard rumors of your kind. Soft mammals from a backwater system. Surrender now and we will make your deaths quick. Martinez's expression did not change. Last warning. Withdraw. Make us, mammal. The Kryloth ship fired. Energy beams lanced toward the human vessels. And then something extraordinary happened. The human ships did not try to absorb the hits with shields. They moved. Not the slow, calculated maneuvers of most spacecraft, but rapid, almost organic evasion patterns. They twisted and rolled and dove through space like fish in water. Impossible, Vorin's tactical officer breathed. Those acceleration forces would pulp any organic crew. The G-forces alone. Humans can withstand high G-forces, Zila said, understanding flooding through her. Their cardiovascular system, their robust bone structure, their ability to remain conscious under extreme stress. They built ships that matched their biology. The human ships returned fire. Their weapons were smaller than the Kryloth arsenal, but they fired with precision that suggested computer targeting. Every shot hit. Target their engine manifolds, Martinez ordered calmly. I want them disabled, not destroyed. Show them we could have killed them, but chose not to. The battle lasted less than 3 minutes. The human ships, smaller and supposedly weaker, danced around the Kryloth vessel like predators around prey. They hit vital systems with surgical precision, and when the Kryloth ship's engines exploded in a controlled detonation, leaving the vessel drifting but intact, Martinez opened a channel again. Kryloth vessel, your engines are destroyed. Your weapons are offline. Your life support is functional. I am transmitting your coordinates to the nearest Galactic Union peacekeeping force. I suggest you wait quietly for them to arrive. She paused. And next time you hear rumors about humans being soft, remember this moment. She cut the transmission and turned to Vorin. Captain, I apologize for taking action without your permission, but I will not allow anyone to threaten my people or my allies. Vorin stared at her, then at the disabled Kryloth ship, then back at her. How did your crews survive those maneuvers? Training and biology, Martinez said simply. Our bodies can handle it. We designed our ships to take advantage of that. Dr. Okonkwo returned to the bridge with Marcus, who looked worried. Sarah, what happened? Just making a point, Martinez said. Marcus, are you well? I am fine. Just confused about why everyone keeps asking if I am okay, Marcus replied. Lieutenant Chen, his sister, crossed the bridge and hugged him tightly. Because you survived vacuum exposure, radiation leakage, and being poked by alien doctors for 3 days. We were worried. I am tougher than I look, Marcus said with a smile. Ambassador Gray approached Captain Voren. I think we need to have an extended conversation about humanity's entry into the Galactic Union. But first, let me make something clear. Humans are not seeking to dominate or intimidate. What you have seen today, our biology, our capabilities, these are simply what we are. We hope to be partners, not threats. Zellar stepped forward. Ambassador, I have spent the last 3 days studying Marcus and learning about your species. I have discovered that nearly everything I thought I knew about biology was incomplete. Your people have survived and thrived on a world that would terrify most species. You have turned your environment's challenges into strengths. This is not wrong. It is magnificent. She turned to address everyone in the room. But it will frighten many species. Not because you are aggressive, but because you are different. The Galactic Union has existed for thousands of years with certain assumptions about what life can and cannot do. Humans break those assumptions. So what do you suggest? Martinez asked. Honesty, Zellar said. Education. Let us study each other openly. Let my people learn what makes you unique, and let your people learn about the galaxy you are entering. Fear comes from ignorance. Knowledge builds understanding. Captain Voren nodded slowly. Doctor, Zellar is correct. The Galactic Council will need to see that humans, while powerful, are not a threat. They will need evidence that you can coexist peacefully with other species. We can provide that evidence, Ambassador Gray said. We are not perfect. Our history on Earth is filled with conflicts and mistakes. But we have also learned cooperation, diplomacy, and compassion. We are ready to be part of something larger than ourselves. Over the following weeks, a plan took shape. Marcus would remain aboard the Luminous Dawn as a cultural liaison, teaching the crew about human biology and culture while learning about the Galactic Union. Other humans would be assigned to different Union ships for similar exchanges. Dr. Zellar would lead a joint human-alien research team studying comparative biology. On the day before the Luminous Dawn departed for the core worlds of the Galactic Union, Zellar found Marcus in the observation deck, staring out at the stars.
Nervous?
She asked. Terrified, Marcus admitted. We are about to meet hundreds of alien species. What if we mess it up? What if humans are too different to fit in? Zellar settled beside him, her tendrils swaying gently. Marcus, in my 40 cycles as a xenobiologist, I have learned one universal truth. Diversity is not a weakness. It is strength. Yes, humans are different. Your biology is extraordinary. But that difference is valuable. You will teach us things we never imagined possible, and we will teach you things you never knew to ask. What if they are afraid of us? Marcus asked quietly. Some will be, Zellar admitted. But others will be curious, fascinated, welcoming. And over time, as we work together and learn from each other, even the fear will fade. Because beneath the strange biology and unusual capabilities, humans are people. You have hopes, dreams, fears, and the capacity for kindness. That is what truly matters. Marcus smiled. You know, when my ship was damaged and I thought I was going to die, I never imagined I would end up having philosophical conversations with an alien doctor about the meaning of diversity. Life is full of surprises, Zellar said. Speaking of which, I received the final analysis of your genetic structure today. Do you want to know what I found? More impossible things, Marcus guessed. Always, Zellar confirmed. But also something beautiful. Human DNA contains genetic markers showing you nearly went extinct once. Thousands of years ago, your population dropped to just a few thousand individuals. By all rights, your species should have died out. But you survived. You adapted. You grew. And eventually, you reached for the stars. She gestured to the viewport, where Earth hung in the distance, a blue and green jewel against the darkness. That planet tried to kill your ancestors with ice ages, diseases, predators, disasters, and instead of breaking, you became stronger. You learned to work together, to adapt, to persist. That is not wrong biology, Marcus. That is the most right biology I have ever seen, because it created a species that never gives up. Marcus looked at Earth, his home, seeing it perhaps for the first time as others might see it. A death world, a crucible, a place that forged something unique and precious. What is wrong with human biology? He said softly, echoing the question that had started this journey. Nothing, absolutely nothing. Zella's tendrils formed a shape she had learned was similar to a human smile. Now you are beginning to understand. As the luminous dawn prepared to jump to hyperspace, carrying its human passenger toward a new future, two species that should have been impossible to each other stood together, looking at the stars and seeing not fear or threat but possibility. The galaxy was about to meet humanity, and nothing would ever be quite the same again. But that, as they say, is a story for another time.